Hey, how you doing? It's great to see you. It's 12:30 on a Thursday, so you know what that means. I'm here with you, Dr. Stephanie Fine, at our Ounce of Prevention chat. That's where we talk about things that help you maintain your weight for the rest of your life. And if you've ever had a problem with your weight, it is a rest of your life thing. That's the thing about maintenance. I hate to break it to you. It's like we sort of know that, but we don't want to know it. It seems like you can do a magic thing and then it's done forever. You know, like taking a pill, like an antibiotic. You know, you take it for a week, your cold is done. It's not like that. So we talk about all the topics that are connected to how to maintain your weight loss. And it's raining here today, which is great because we need it. So it's so nice to hear the little pitter patter. The other neat thing, and how I know spring is coming, even though, you know what, it's February, but it really, I mean, it's not even February, but it is that spring is sort of in the air, like a hint of it. Now, if you live somewhere where it's snowing and everything, then you're not feeling that way. But the way I know is that a duck couple, like quack, quack, duck, the male, you know, with the green, the mallard with the green, and then the female duck with the brown, they vacation here. They come in the spring, they pick a house around here, and they lay eggs and have a bunch of ducklings. And they take a little break from the hubbub right over here. So we always like to welcome them. But that's not what today's about. Today's about hunger. Hunger with a capital H. So what's exciting about the blog, which you should definitely check out at stephaniefinemd.com, under blog, it's called Hunger Part 1, because there'll be a Part 2. In it, you can get a printout, like a pretty printout of the hunger scale that I talk about. So we're going to talk about hunger scale, but there's a nice one that has the labels on it, and it's and you can print it out and stick it on your fridge, or make it small and put it in your pocket, you know, whatever you want to do. But it's a nice little scale to have. And the reason why a scale is important is because knowing when you're hungry and when you're satisfied. Did you notice I said satisfied and not full? That's one of those important tweaks to make, that we're not eating to fullness. We'll actually get more into that next week. This week is about knowing when you're hungry. And the reason why that's important is because a lot of times we would like to ignore the fact that we get hungry, right? It's annoyance. It's like sometimes when we have to pee, we wish we didn't have to, especially if you're drinking your water like you should be. But our bodies have needs, and we need our bodies, so we need to take care of it. So one of the things is when you get hungry. Now, when you start to notice yourself getting hungry, you should be eating your meal or snack, or, you know, your more substantial thing. And when I say substantial, I'm not talking about enormous. But what I mean is not one almond. You know, like you made a decision about it. It's either a snack or it's a meal. But you need to get to that meal in about 30 minutes, because that's all you have in this scale. The scale goes from -5, which is empty, empty, empty. You feel completely depleted. I mean, like tired, and could be in pain and really distracted, and you can't think of anything else but wanting to eat something, through 0 all the way to 5. And 5 is stuffed, like Thanksgiving, like bursting, like under the pants kind of thing. And as you may know, we never need to get to that bursting period. No, not that we haven't. And I was going to say, of course we have. Most of us have. But as a general practice, in order to maintain your weight loss, stopping when you're satisfied is key. And if you do that, you're going to be able to eat all the things you want, but you just have to stop when you're satisfied. Now, there is so much there. Oh my gosh. Even you may be even thinking about it. Like when you hear me say that, there may be a slight panic in there. One of the ideas about stopping when you're satisfied is that you can have more at a different time. But when it's in front of us, we sometimes get that feeling of like, oh my, I have to consume the whole thing, or else it's going away. I'll never see it again. Even though when you say that out loud, you know that's not true. But there's a piece that thinks that. Calming that down by practicing stopping when you're satisfied is such an important and fantastic practice to have. And when I say practice, I'm not kidding. It's like, a meditation practice. You never get there. You're just practicing. It's the same thing with this. You're constantly practicing because you'll practice and sometimes you'll hit it, and you'll practice and sometimes you won't. And that's why you just keep practicing. So the way you start to even think about getting there is by taking this scale and learning what the numbers mean for you. So I've put a little labels on each one, but you get to decide for yourself what that means. When I say very, very hungry, I mean, that's definitely could be different for you than me. But by practicing telling when you are, when you're hungry, when you're not, all that sort of thing. Oh, it's Pam. Hi, Pam. I know, we talked about the rain. So happy it's here. So Pam, we're talking about the hunger scale, which I think you know about, -5 to 5. And the piece is about practicing knowing where you are on that. So the practices that I explained in the blog is asking yourself random times, just if it occurs to you. It certainly can be when you are getting hungry, and it can be while you're eating for sure. But what am I feeling right now? And then you put a number on that. And what we're looking for is when you are at -2, meaning -1 would be just starting to get hungry, and -2 is like, yep, I'm hungry, but not desperate. So that's the key about -2, is you eat at -2 and you do not wait for -3, 4, and 5. When you do wait for -3, 4, and 5, you're over hungry and you eat more likely all the way over to 4 and 5. And that's what we want to avoid, because when the portions are so big, then obviously that's more calories, right? And then there's discomfort. I mean, that's the other thing is, 4 and 5 are uncomfortable. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. So practicing that. And so by not getting super, super hungry, then we can better avoid not getting super full. You see, so it's actually sort of working backwards. And it's interesting because a lot of us would think, oh, just don't eat a lot. But that's not fair. If you're really, really hungry, we can't help it. I talk about the ghrelin, which is one of the hormones. And when you have low blood sugar, any willpower you may have had is really out the window. We're talking about hormones and other things that are sort of overtaking your brain. So it's not fair to say, I'm not going to overeat if you let yourself get super hungry. You see? It's just so often not your fault. There's really reasons around it. Now, if you knew you were at -2 and you waited a couple hours, then you're going to get to -5 and it's going to be a problem. So that piece you have control over, right? When you start to feel hungry at -1, you wait about 30 minutes till -2, and then you eat. And you eat to feel number 2, which is satisfied, not full. And that is, when you do that, the number of calories you're consuming is reasonable. And you can have a normal amount of calories in your day if you're doing -2 to +2. So that's where we're headed with this. And the scale will help you do it. So there's a link on this page, but also in the blog itself on StephanieFineMD.com. You can go to your blog. You may have gotten it in your inbox because you're already on the list. Yay for you. And then look for the hunger scale. It's just it's a printed out one. You could even make one yourself, but it's nice to have a pretty one. And we are going to talk about hunger again. Pam or anyone, if you have any questions, let me know. And I will certainly address them next week, because we're going to be talking even more about hunger. I could go on and on and on about this. So my plea to you is to feed your hunger, but feed it sooner rather than later. Do not wait until it gets to the ravenous point. So that's what I've got for you today. It's so good to see you, and stay dry if you're in the rain, and otherwise I will see you next week.